is it?
Say,
what is it?
hey, why, it's Buttercup. Popcorn and sweet cream butter, too hot popcorn. Mix it up, wrap it up, Buttercup is born.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
It's so munchy,
Crisp and crunchy.
you'll enjoy each bite. Eat butter-drenched Buttercup popcorn at its best.
Served in a king-size cup.
It beats all the rest.
Show starts in 8 minutes.
We are really excited to talk about the Heights Family Resource Center because it was born out of the understanding that our families and students face barriers. And we also have some incredible partners within our community, and this is where they meet. The Heights Family Resource Center is an opportunity to remove barriers for students, and we're excited.
And the HFRC is located at the Delisle Option Center, and we're open by appointment. We have 4 staff who staff the HFRC and can support families by both connecting them to concrete items that they may need, like food, clothing, personal care items, but more importantly, connect them to community-based resources and our partners that can provide other supports like housing assistance, utility assistance, and referrals for other needs that they might have.
And I'd also say too, we want to make sure that we know it's for families, by families, in support of our community.
Show starts in 7 minutes.
Popcorn. Candy. Ooh, hot dog. Popsicle. Oh boy. Oh boy, banana orange.
Show starts in 6 minutes.
Crypto. Home. Take me home.
Superman.
Show starts in 3 minutes.
We running this town just like a club. And no, you don't wanna mess with us. Got Jesus on my necklace. Got that glitter on my eyes. Stocking dripped all up the side. Looking sick and sexy fine. So let's go, let's go. Carry my, no, you carrying my poker face. She's got me like nobody. Carry my, no, you carrying my poker face. She's got me like nobody. Carry my, no, you carrying my poker face. She's got me like nobody.
Show starts in 2 minutes.
Surprising the future. It's an intriguing idea. How do you see around the corner to solve tomorrow's problems today? Surprise the future with preparation. Expand your critical and analytical thinking in the classroom. Listen to a mentor who shares wisdom. Build a lifelong knowledge base. Surprise the future with experience. Get your hands dirty. Feel the butterflies when you step outside your comfort zone. Combine your knowledge with real-world practice. Surprise the future with personal development. Lean into the centuries-old Jesuit tradition of innovation and leadership. Embrace your spiritual growth. Connect reason with faith, justice, and action to make the decisions that benefit the greater good. Your return on investment will be immediate. The future will never surprise you. You will surprise the future.
Show starts in 1 minute.
Man, I'm up to something. Woody-la-di-do, thank you all for coming. I hope you like the show, cause it's on a budget. So woody-la-di-do, yeah. Come on, here we go, yeah. Come on. Here we go. So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song. Everybody come hang. Let's go out with a bang. I'm way too young to lie here forever. I'm way too old to try. So whatever, come hang. Let's go out with a bang. Whenever I but I'm thinking it's time to go. So put your best face on, everybody pretend you know this song. Everybody come hang. Let's go out with a bang.
And now, on with the show.
Good evening. Residents of University Heights, elected officials, directors and chiefs, city employees, friends and family. Good evening and welcome to the 2025 University Heights State of the City Address. Last year we took our theme from the updated Superman motto, Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow. As you know, the creators of Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, after enjoying some success, moved up the hill to University Heights. The Better Tomorrow theme fits so well in 2024 that we used it in the Memorial Day Parade and the Civic Awards as well. With the new year, we began to search for a new theme. Then we saw the trailer of the new Superman movie, especially with all the greater Cleveland landmarks, and we geeked out. And then we saw the poster and the new tagline, Look Up, and thus our city theme for 2025. Look up, specifically, look up from your phone. Look up and away from the negativity, the trolls, and the isolation. Look up as University Heights has built a sense of community, and the bond is only going to get stronger. Look up. It might be difficult to do with all the negativity and hate coming from Washington and Columbus, but don't despair. Don't give up. That's what authoritarians want. Look up. As promised, over the last 7+ years, University Heights has reached new heights. So tonight, sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's begin by looking up at what we've accomplished together. We begin with the redevelopment of University Square into Bell Tower Center. In 2024, we succeeded in transferring the University Square property to new developers. Brad Cowett and Greg Levy, the principals of Bell Tower Center, have been working with us since 2019 to make this happen. Bell Tower Center will be a mixed-use development with over 200 apartments, over new retail space, new retail, dining, and entertainment options, all while retaining the Target store that opened in 2003 and the Macy's store, whose presence on the site dates back to 1956 as May Company or Mays on the Heights. The iconic Freedom Bell, which has been a symbol of the site since its early days, will remain a central feature of the new Bell Tower Center. The bell used to be downtown and would ring to alert new shipments coming in to the original May Company store on Public Square. That bell is as iconic to University Heights as the JCU clock tower or our 100-year-old City Hall building. Already, we are seeing new businesses signing on to Bell Tower Center. Urban Air Adventure Zone is coming to the second floor space where Tops Grocery Store was once located. That space has been vacant since 2006. And soon it will be fun for the whole family with indoor trampolines, rock climbing, and other active entertainment. The University Heights Urban Air will be a third larger than the successful West Side Urban Air and will bring families and enthusiasts from all over the region to University Heights to recreate and spend their entertainment dollars. Also under contract and coming soon is Qdoba and Smoothie King. Another prospective tenant is in talks with the former Joann Fabric space on the 5th floor. A successful local restaurateur is in talks regarding the former Applebee's space next to Macy's. With 4 to 6 new retail spaces under the apartments, now is the time to get your business into Bell Tower Center in University Heights. Next to University Square, Aldi is coming to University Heights. The day after City Council rejected Chick-fil-A, whose application had been pending for over a year, I was on the phone with Aldi's representatives. My administration helped Aldi craft an application requiring fewer variances than Chick-fil-A required, giving our council fewer grounds for rejection. Aldi will break ground after January 2026 or sooner if current tenants at the site relocate. We have secured the future of Whole Foods at Cedar Center as a Cedar Center tenant by approving more parking and a green space outside its main entrance. The former Boston Market building will come down this spring to make that happen. When it comes to groceries, if Heinen's, Whole Foods, Target, and Aldi were not enough, we're on the verge of announcing yet another grocery store, a specialty grocer to anchor John Carroll University's new Gateway North project at Fairmount Circle and Warrensville Center Road. This mixed-use complex is designed to enhance both the student experience and the surrounding Heights community. A 5-story building with retail spaces on the ground floor and student housing above, Gateway North will create a vibrant hub for both students and local residents. Construction is set to begin in May 2025, with completion expected by fall semester 2026. It is the culmination of work by our administration with John Carroll University since 2021. Even tonight, I still cannot announce the name of the specialty grocer quite yet. Like the famous line from the original Top Gun movie, I could tell you, but as we look up and fly fearlessly forward, with this new grocery store making 5 grocery stores in our city, University Heights will be the food oasis of the East Side. More than ever, University Heights will be the place to shop, bringing jobs and commerce to our city and bringing revenue to the city coffers. 8 years ago, I ran on economic development. I said that University Heights is a great place to live, but we've been leaving too many opportunities on the table. With no active prospects and a nearly vacant University Square, I created the city's first economic development department. I hired former Solon Mayor Susan Drucker to be our economic development director. Together, we have brought redevelopment, businesses, and jobs to the city of University Heights. I turn now to our service department. Last year, we rolled out our new recycling program. Beginning September 30th, 2024, University Heights began a curbside recycling program with automated pickup. No longer do we use single-use plastic bags for our recyclables. No longer do we pay $105 a ton for processing. Now the value of the recyclables offsets the cost of processing. Our city is actually getting a rebate now. As of today, 2,534 households have opted into the program. That is 59.6% of the eligible households participating. We have doubled. We were picking up blue bags. When we were picking up blue bags, fewer than a third of our households were participating. So we have doubled our participation in recycling. Well done, University Heights. Well done, Director Alan Pennington, Deanna Bremer-Fisher, and Mike Cook for their work in implementing and promoting the program. I thank every member of the service department for their work in training on the new truck and on implementing the new program in the field. Finally, I want to thank and acknowledge Assistant Service Director John Pacella, who retires at the end of this month after over 34 years of service to the city and the residents of University Heights. He could not be here tonight, but let's all give him a round of applause. If anyone's looking for a job with a lot of sleepless nights and dealing with literal garbage and sewage, there's an opening here at the city that doesn't require getting on the ballot. Last year, we planted 72 trees and will plant 50 more this spring. I am proud to announce that University Heights has earned the designation Tree City USA this year, 2025, for the 47th year in a row. I'm also happy to announce that the City of University Heights will co-host with JCU the Regional Tree City USA Awards in 2028, the year of our projected 50th anniversary as a Tree City USA. Our work in trees continues with the tree commission we proposed last September. Our Citizens Advisory Committee on Sustainability worked with Director Pennington, Deanna Bremer-Fisher, and me last summer in hopes of having the new ordinances on trees and native plants in place by this spring. We're just waiting on council. I know residents would like to know now what they're allowed to plant this spring. In gratitude for the work of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, all the members were recognized as Co-Citizens of the Year 2024. I thank for their work Maggie Fry, Mike Lonsdale, Scott Urban, Emma Shook, Lee Crumrine, Jeffrey Pearl, Micah Meliscus, Charlie Schreier, Lori Albright, and Elizabeth Engelhardt. Director Pennington, Deanna Bremer-Fisher, and I are also working with the committee on the state's first climate action plan. This is a plan that will be a guiding document for the next administration and for years to come. 8 years ago, I ran on reforming and improving city services. I began working to improve rubbish and recycling collection in 2019. At long last, we've reached an agreement of what could be done to improve recycling, basically a version of the program that our consultants recommended to us in May of 2020. Finally, almost 5 years later, we recycle better than ever. I am proud of what we've done together, yes, but most of all, I am proud that the majority of our residents have embraced this change. Together, we are making University Heights more sustainable. Let's talk about money. 8 years ago, I ran on strong fiscal management. I said that University Heights had resources but lacked organization, vision, and direction. The previous mayor claimed a $2.5 million surplus, but left us hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid bills, broken and obsolete equipment from a 20-year-old ladder truck to broken IT, and a finance department that hadn't kept proper records for a year. I cleaned house, replaced everyone in the city finance department, and ultimately brought in Dennis Kennedy as finance director. Together, we have brought sound financial management to the city of University Heights. At the end of 2024, we carried over a surplus of more than $10.1 million across all funds, including over $4.5 million carryover in the general fund alone. We have lived within our means. We have not raised taxes, even as we have rebuilt our departments and improved city services. Director Kennedy and his team did something last year that not even the Kansas City Chiefs could do: win the big one 3 years in a row. That's right. When it comes to the Auditor of State's Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting, the City of University Heights has earned the three-peat: 2021, 22, and 23, and the 2024 audit is underway. It's not just about great record keeping. The finance department is getting results. There has been consistent and continued growth in the city's investment portfolio. The value is now approaching $9.3 million. While the finance department manages the green, the city is going green by continuing to be more sustainable. Our sustainability initiatives include a climate action plan, Bike with the Mayor, and providing reusable shopping bags to local businesses. We are teaming up with our partners in Cleveland Heights and South Euclid on the Heights Regional Active Transportation Plan. It's an ambitious plan that will be phased in over the next few years, but when complete, it will make it easier to get around our cities on foot or by bike. Here in University Heights, this will take several forms, including a multi-purpose path connecting Kane Park and Walter Stinson Community Park, a multi-purpose path connecting Renford Road in South Euclid to Renford Road in University Heights by Purvis Park, and improving the bike lanes on Warrensville Center Road in 2027. Our second annual Sustainable Home Fair will return to Wiley on April 27th. And this just in, University Heights has earned a grant that will enable us to launch a citywide composting pilot program. Residents should look for a mailing next month. The force behind all these initiatives is Deanna Bremer Fisher. And I do mean force. For as long as I've known Deanna, everything she sets out to do, she succeeds and does well. On a personal note, Hugh Fisher, Deanna, Hugh, happy 20th wedding anniversary. You two sure know how to show each other a good time. This is hardly the Burning Man Festival, but do stick around and there are chocolates. Deanna is working with our coordinator of services for older adults, Karen Malone Wright, to bring much needed programming to our older residents. The speaker series at the library has been reborn as Topic Tuesdays. Karen took a group of residents to Playhouse Square for a production of the show Parade. And coming soon, there will be walks with friends. Come on out to the Walt and get some exercise with guest walkers, including myself, Fire Chief Perko, and, pending his availability, Cooper. Speaking of Chief Perko, let's now turn to safety services. Look, I'm proud of both of our chiefs, Chief Dustin Rogers and Chief Bob Perko, and their departments every day. But never as much as that cold Friday night in late January when the UHFD teamed up with Cleveland Heights and other area departments to suppress the fire at the under-construction Marquee Apartments at Cedar Lee. Their work stopped the fire from spreading to other buildings, to other businesses, like the historic Cedar Lee Theater, and due to the high winds, even across the street to Heights High School. It wasn't just a miracle that nobody was killed or hurt, it was the teamwork of all of our local fire departments. But now let me tell you the rest of the story. When I became mayor and safety director at the beginning of January 2018, I was handed a fire department that would not have been able to help Cleveland Heights. The fire chief I let go on day one had reduced mutual aid commitments. The equipment we had was old and outdated, out of service more than it was in service. If we had not committed to rebuilding the department, if we had in January 2025 the fire department and readiness we had back in January 2018, there would have been little we could have done to help. Maybe we wouldn't have even gone at all. My friends, those days are over. Under the leadership of Chief Bob Perko III, the department has never been better. Fast forward to January 14th, 2025, the worst building fire in the county in over 30 years. With the University Heights Fire Department only 1.5 miles away, Ladder 1121 and Cleveland Heights Ladder 221 arrived on the scene simultaneously. We raised our ladders together and got to work together. It took a lot more than just our two agencies to get this done, but it started with the two of us, together, in partnership, the way it should be. For the fortunes of Cleveland Heights and University Heights are tied together in ways unlike those of other cities. We rise and fall together, and together we're literally reaching new heights. Like our fire department, our University Heights Police Department continue to make us proud every day. In 2024, the UHPD continued to demonstrate their commitment to meet industry standards and the expectations of the community. Crimes like assault, vandalism, theft, fraud, plus drug and weapon offenses were down 20% last year. In addition, last year, our police successfully responded to a bank robbery here in University Heights. And your police continue to be present in our community to build partnerships, including such efforts as the annual law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics, Shop with a Cop, the Memorial Day event, and the school supply drive. I want to take a moment to thank Chief Dustin Rogers. I named him chief in the middle of my third month as mayor. Dustin was a sergeant when I reached out and rank jumped him to chief. He's that kind of leader. For the last 7 years, the University Heights Police Department, all of our officers, overall, do their jobs quietly, effectively, without drama or incident, reflecting the cool and professional demeanor of the chief. It's a testament to your leadership, and I commend you and every member of the department. Thank you, Chief Rogers. In the last year, our new city engineer, Brenda Mockby, hit the ground running, and among the projects she has tackled are the renovation to the southern racket courts at Purvis Park, including 4 new pickleball courts. We look forward to Brenda's work on the active transportation projects and other projects in the coming years. Since my last stay to the city, we have a new director of housing and community development, Markel Davis. Promoted from within last fall, not only did Markel step into the big and tall shoes left by Jeff Engelbrecht, but she has also absolutely proven herself to be up to the challenge. An experienced specialist in housing issues from her time at the Cleveland Housing Court and Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority, I watched her be an effective advocate and witness for the city in court in January regarding a nuisance house plaguing this community for over 20 years. The community development side of the department requires staffing for her to manage. Imagine what she could do if City Council would simply pass the ordinance I proposed on October 7th, 2024, 6 months ago this week, setting a salary and allowing her to hire a community development coordinator, which has existed on the books since Walter Stinson himself held the position. Beyond code enforcement, we need people in-house with urban planning experience, working on housing stability and affordability and development. But I digress. Markel, thank you for your strong work to date and your continued service to the city of University Heights. We set our clocks ahead this weekend. That means summer is around the corner. On Memorial Day, we'll kick off summer, as we have each year since 1966, with the parade and ceremony. For years, we've had the biggest and best Memorial Day parade in Northeast Ohio, and we aim to reach that goal again this year. For a fourth year, we will host a Juneteenth celebration. Meet you at the Wald on June 21st for the celebration of freedom. And with that, we've reached the intermission of this speech. I'm going to sit down for a minute, have some water, and we're all going to watch the Summer Concert Series lineup reveal video.
It's intermission time in the state of the city, and you know what that means. WJCU 88.7 FM in the city of University Heights proudly present the 2025 Summer Concert Series lineup. June 26th, Boaterhead. July 3rd and July 31st, the City of University Heights Symphonic Band. July 10th, the Ladies' Night. July 17th, Joel Big Green. July 24th, Rubik's Groove. August 7th, Billy Likes Soda. And now, back to the speech.
Thank you to WJCU for again partnering with us for the Summer Concert Series. To find a time as tumultuous as today, we'd have to look back to the pre-war era. In the 1930s, a time of peak anti-Semitism worldwide, in a world without the State of Israel, a world where the fascists viewed Jews as an other to hate and demonize. Indeed, a world where America also then failed to take in and turned away so many tired, poor, huddled masses. Two young Jewish boys from Cleveland created a superhero of unlimited power and unlimited goodness. From a doomed planet, an only son, sent as a savior. As I opened with, this summer we will see another retelling of the classic story of Superman. The movie tagline, "Look Up," emphasizes hope and resilience, optimism and inspiration, and encourages people to rise above challenges and believe in a brighter future. To me, it's never been more necessary to look up and not merely look away. We have to remain positive when confronting the challenges before us. We cannot give in to hate or despair, as so many already have. When I was a child, I had difficulty suspending my disbelief about the Superman story. How could people knowing that the planet was dying do nothing? And worse, conceal the truth about the state of affairs? As a child, I did not believe it. As an adult and an elected official, I can tell you, it's because there are people who don't want to confront hard truths. People who cower in the face of adversity. People who align themselves with the bully instead of standing up to bullies. People who make up their own truth and don't live in the fact-based world. People who, like this exist everywhere, including at all levels of government, federal, state, and local. The state of the city, of the state, of the union, of the world, like it or not, it's all interconnected. In this time of darkness, we must be the candle in the dark, a light of truth in the demon-haunted world. In 8 years as mayor, nobody has ever accused me of a lack of candor. Far from it. I've been criticized, I've even been censured for calling things not only as I see them, but for how they are. This evening is an evening of celebrating good work, but it's also an evening of truth-telling. As George Orwell is credited for saying, in times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And as Harry Truman once said, I don't give them hell. I just tell the truth, and they think it's hell. Since we have a movie theme tonight, perhaps we should evoke another. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You look at the state and national government. Where do these people get their starts? Many of them in local government. Hiding behind the facade that local government is nonpartisan. The positions officially are nonpartisan, but not the people who fill them. And not the rancid thinking some of these people bring that is out of step with the community. It has been said in local government that there is no Democratic or Republican way of filling a pothole. Well, I beg to differ. I am a Democrat, and I actually want to repave our streets. 8 years ago, I ran on repaving 1.5 to 2 miles of streets every year so that all 32 miles of University Heights streets could get redone every 20 years or so. We are nowhere near on pace. 3 years ago, I had to call special meetings, bring in outside officials, get additional ARPA and NOACA money just to save the Cedar Road project after City Council voted it down. Now, upon reconsideration, it still was not unanimous, but we did get it done. This year, we have identified over $2 million worth of streets that ought to be resurfaced, but we're doing only about a quarter of that. If this continues, our roads will be among the worst around. Bad for cars, terrible for bikers, good for no one. Yet it seems it may continue, especially as City Council continues to try to pay for new municipal facilities with the money we use to pave our streets and run our city. So let's talk about the proposed new municipal facilities. Look, most of us will never see the inside of a police station or a fire station. Now, I have, and yes, the conditions there are shocking. Our employees should not work under these conditions. But we all see the streets, and we all use them every day. And if you ask our police officers and firefighters, would you rather have a new building or raises in your next 3-year contract? A new building or layoffs of some of your colleagues, understaffing the departments and making the job impossible for the ones that remain? They're going to take the raises. They're going to keep their colleagues. Similarly, our residents have priorities as well, for themselves and their families, and for the people who serve them in our community. Don't get me wrong, we need a new police station, and we need a new fire station. We need a new city hall, or to completely renovate and expand the current one, including making it welcome to people with mobility issues, as the current city hall does not even have an elevator. That's why we haven't had public meetings at our city hall since 2019. Maybe I'll live long enough to need the elevator and a parking space close to the door. As residents, these are not the only things we need. We need year-round recreation. We need to set the future for the Wiley building. We will soon need to redo the pool and redo the playground right next to the new tennis and pickleball courts at Purvis Park. But if we agree that these things have to be done, we cannot do it with the money that we're already using and are supposed to be using to run the city. You don't get something for nothing. The council members who are telling you that they can do it all with that same money are just setting us up for a tax increase in the future. That, or mass layoffs of police and fire, streets that continue to go unpaved, and residents' needs not being met. One member of council has been public for years about her opinion that our police and fire departments are overstaffed. She's wrong. As our city grows, we will only need more police and fire personnel, not fewer. These are not easy decisions. The discussions have to be made up front, with the public's input and consent. The decisions did not get easier after Council announced a $30 million budget, leaving out a new city hall and with no plan of where to relocate the building and housing departments, and plans to borrow $26.5 million on new facilities while spending down our city's reserves, with no realistic plan to pay for it. That deserves a vote of the people, up front, before the money is borrowed. I let Council know that in January, that I will not sign off on borrowing that kind of money without real means of paying it back. Under our charter, only the mayor can sign the loan documents. And after years of prudent financial management, I will not now mortgage our city's ability to run itself. The response? To wait me out for the next mayor and have them do it. Residents of University Heights, you need to make sure your next mayor does not do something so financially reckless as borrow that kind of money without a new, dedicated, guaranteed way of paying it back. A tax increase to borrow $26.5 million to build new facilities will be substantial. At current rates, over $400 a year on a house worth $200,000. The annual repayment on that loan is about $1.8 million a year over 30 years. The city does not have an extra $1.8 million a year sitting around doing nothing. If the city borrows that money, we might be able to swing repayment for 2 or 3 years, making cuts and so on. But after that, you can expect whomever is mayor or on council to come back to you, the people, hat in hand, and say, we overextended ourselves. We need you to vote for a tax increase now because the city didn't ask for a bond levy back then. Instead of it being a bond levy, it'll be an income tax increase or a roads levy where no streets are resurfaced unless we agree to raise taxes on ourselves. Or a safety levy where police and fire pension obligations are passed on to us, the residents, and police officers and firefighters are laid off unless we agree to raise taxes. Our city council could also vote to eliminate the income tax credit if we don't agree to raise taxes on ourselves. It's not fair to us, the residents, for the city council to create a financial crisis and then beg for all of us to solve it. This is where we're headed right now with City Council's current plan on new facilities. I have not pushed to put out a bond issue on the ballot for facilities. Like most of you, I feel the strain of the taxes we already pay and the precariousness of the current economy. I believe the course the president is taking is going to lead us into recession, given the job losses and disruption, given that any savings gained will likely go to tax cuts for the rich instead of any economic benefit for you and me. Council's plan to take on a $26.5 million debt and spend $30 million or more at a time without a bond levy is reckless in good economic times and could easily lead to a fiscal emergency for our city in a recession. Let's take a look now at the state of Ohio. On one hand, things are going well when it comes to economic development and job growth statewide and in Northeast Ohio. In the last 6 years, 2019 to 2024, compared with the previous 8, 2011 to 2018, Ohio has had a 67% increase in projects, a 14% increase in new jobs, a 41% increase in payroll, a 119% increase in capital expenditures. This is because of the work of Jobs Ohio, Team NEO, federal economic development programs under the Biden administration, among other things. Critical to keeping economic growth vital in Ohio is reversing at once and avoiding any more talk of tariffs with our trading partners, beginning with Canada. Canada is Ohio's top trading partner. In 2023, Ohio exported $21.4 billion with a B, in goods to Canada, which was 38% of all of Ohio's exports. A trade war with Canada will hurt Ohio, probably hurt Ohio a lot more than it will hurt Canada. It will hurt all of us as consumers, as the costs of tariffs are passed along as higher prices on goods. And regardless, we should not be starting a trade war with our closest ally, friend, and business partner, Canada. The problems do not end there. When Ohio officials attack renewable energy, that makes us less attractive to foreign investors from Europe and other countries who are committed to renewables. Also critical to keeping economic growth vital is ensuring we have a growing talent pool. When our state officials attack fair districts, diversity, equity, and inclusion, abortion rights, LGBTQIA plus individuals, this drives young people away. This drives talented people away. We should spend less time policing which bathrooms people use and which sports teams children play on, and more time growing the economy, more time growing a just and empathetic culture now and for the future. When it comes to the children, the most critical thing we can be doing is ensuring fair school funding for our public schools. 90% of Ohio kids attend public schools. They deserve schools that are fairly and constitutionally funded. Ohio's three-part bipartisan fair school funding plan took years to pass. Incredible amounts of research and debate went into it. Legislators from both sides of the aisle made it a reality. As we approach the final phase of implementation, our legislators should not abandon the process now. This is at stake right now in the budget debate in Columbus. It affects our CHUH public schools tremendously. I thank our school board members who are here tonight for being such great advocates for our schools and for our kids. Finally, let's talk about private schools. Many parents in University Heights send their children to private schools, and I support their right to do so. When you send your child to school, it's a personal choice that parents make with the best interests of their children in mind. That said, it's fundamentally unfair that the state spends more per capita on private school vouchers than it does on the children enrolled in public schools. A student going to private school should not be getting more public money than a student attending a public school. Educating all of our children is in the public interest. So all schools getting public support should also be held to the same standards on testing and proficiency, whether they are public or private schools. Public support calls for public regulation and uniform standards. These inequities must be resolved in fairness to all and in the best interests of our children and their future. We want to make sure children get a good education no matter where they attend school. Shifting to our Medicaid recipients, over 700,000 Ohioans stand to lose their benefits from the state automatically if the federal government cuts Medicaid. We must look out for our most vulnerable residents here in University Heights and throughout the state of Ohio. Near and dear to University Heights residents is the issue of ranked choice voting. There is a movement in Columbus to take away our home rule right to conduct elections the way we intend. The way the City Charter Review Commission recommended, instant runoff, also known as ranked choice voting. Our Charter Review Commission recommended placing it on the ballot in 2023 in University Heights. City Council stopped it, kept it off the ballot. Regardless, it should be up to us locally to decide best how we run our elections. The idea behind term limits in statewide offices was to promote new people with new ideas and fresh perspective and energy every 2 terms, not just taking the same slate and rearranging the seats. 2026 can be the year when we break the cycle and bring fresh perspective to Ohio government, restoring our status as a true purple bellwether state. Regardless of the gerrymandering and the misleading partisan language Secretary of State Frank LaRose published on the ballot itself last year for issue 1. There are statewide elections coming up, and Ohioans have a chance to take their government back after years of the most corrupt governance we have seen in any state, including the failure to fully repeal the House Bill 6 legislation, the bailout that First Energy bought with bribes. In spite of all the indictments, as well as the conviction of former State House Speaker Larry Householder. Who here pays their First Energy bill online? You see that new surcharge of 50 cents per payment, paying online if you aren't enrolled in auto pay? Makes you mad, huh? That's on top of the $445,679 Ohio families pay every day to prop up 2 unprofitable coal-fired plants, one of which is in Indiana. That will be $1.1 billion by 2030. Let's talk a little bit about the federal government under our 47th president. I'm not going to go on quite as long as he did last night. The zone has been flooded since January 20th. There are so many damaging things that the Trump administration has done to this country and our citizens and our allies since January 20th. I will not try to catalog all of them here. I've already mentioned the tariffs, and I will add this. Ukraine is our ally, to whom we have made promises of security, as we have with Israel, as we have with our partners in NATO. These are not and should not be matters of controversy, except where our nation's current leaders are falling short and not honoring our commitments. In which case, it is up to us as Americans to ensure our leaders represent what America stands for, not only at home, but abroad. And at home, we need to look up and make sure that an unelected billionaire doesn't steal from us the protections and resources our Congress has created and appropriated money to. For all the firings and shutdowns, none of this has been done by congressional act. When the president refuses to spend money Congress appropriates on agencies and programs created by congressional acts, it is in essence an illegal line item veto, which does not exist in the U.S. Constitution. If there's one thing in common among all the needless and pointless destruction of our federal agencies and research and aid programs and the loss of expertise with the mass firings of federal employees, it is this. It is being done contrary to the rule of law. Let's look at the history. We often hear about the founding of this country in 1776, or the adoption of the Constitution in 1789, or the Bill of Rights in 1791. In recent years, we've discussed the significance of 1619, the year that the first Africans were brought to America as slaves. Less often do we hear the date 1868, after the Civil War, the refounding of the United States of America through the ratification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, the rededication of this country to equal protection under the law, to all persons born here being citizens, regardless of race or origin, and the first concrete step in law on the long road we still travel towards atonement for slavery. As Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg once told us, real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time. We are a nation of laws and not men. It is an observation as old as the Republic made by founding father John Adams. This was the American rejection of the divine right of kings and the recognition that the country and the best of what it stands for is greater than any one person. The modern Supreme Court has nibbled away at this over time. Citizens United equating money with free speech, allowing billionaires to put dark money into politics. The Dobbs abortion case taking away a constitutional right for the first time from Americans. Finally, the Supreme Court's decision last year declaring the president immune from prosecution when exercising the core powers of the presidency, which is astonishing when you think about that in the year 1215, the Magna Carta put forth the principle that the king and his government are not above the law. In spite of some of the missteps by the Supreme Court, the American court system remains the firewall and final bastion to protect democracy and freedom in our nation. In the days leading up to the January 6, 2021 insurrection, the rule of law triumphed over the rule by one man by a record of 60-1 in the federal courts, regardless of the party of the person who became judge and heard those cases. Since the January 20, 2025 inauguration, the courts have so far, more often than not, upheld the rule of law over the executive actions of Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Doge. In the end, it will be the Congress that has to defund and dissolve agencies and programs if it is to happen legally, if it is truly to stick, despite all the jobs lost, the research disrupted, and the expertise lost. The deliberative body, the legislature, must deliberate on these things. But remember this, if Trump were as powerful as he would seem to be, the Republican Congress would be doing Trump's heavy lifting, not Elon Musk. Ultimately, it is the rule of law that will carry the day, and still, there are no guarantees. We know Jim Crow was the law of the American South for almost a century, and before that, slavery was legal in the United States. From Henry David Thoreau to Martin Luther King Jr., we should take note the history and review the moral responsibility we all have to peacefully disobey unjust laws. Recognize that the destruction we are seeing by the current administration may not be easily remedied. It may take years to rebuild. I say this not to discourage you, but to encourage you. That as patriots, we will stand up for our country, for our rights, for what is right, and for the promise of what America is at its best. Pivoting back to local government. I opened with economic development, went back to economic development, and one more time, economic development. This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the kickoff of the city's zoning code review. We launched the review process in March 2023. With the new zoning code, the administration seeks to leverage this city's density, expanding residential zoning to allow additional home units in single-family districts, as Euclid is doing now. We seek to allow ADUs, accessory dwelling units, to the city, as Cleveland Heights is exploring. Updating our commercial districts to encourage redevelopment and strengthen our tax base, including the creation of the Warrensville Center Road District, a dense and walkable district with new shops and housing, basically creating the center of town that our city has never really had. Also, we need to address how we foster proposed religious uses of land in the neighborhoods. We know that the state building code requires a commercial grade structure for houses of worship. We know that residential grade construction generally is not fit for this use. Where it has been attempted, it has been a fire code and public safety hazard. Houses wear out when you put 100 or more people in them constantly. It also tends to create parking problems. We worked with the Alexander Shul congregation on approving a new structure for their house of worship, and I look forward to them completing their new shul later this year. In fact, since I've been mayor, I have voted in favor of every special use permit for a religious use that has come before me at Planning Commission. My administration has seen the construction of the Cleveland Community Mikveh, the Zichron Chaim Synagogue, the Alexander Shul Synagogue, modifications to the Beechwood University Heights Kollel, modifications to Jesu Church and its grounds, including adding an area for outdoor worship and meetings. The Heikel Hakadesh Synagogue will be before Planning Commission tomorrow on its new synagogue. Still, while guaranteeing the constitutional right to worship freely, we need to better define the rules for this land use as we encourage and require the faithful to follow rules just as we require all businesses to follow rules. The new zoning code must address this. Our city council is avoiding all of it. Since June of last year, the city council has met in committee. Since June of last year, the city council has held only one committee meeting on the zoning code. That's just one meeting in the last 9 months. This, after promising meetings all summer, last summer, and holding none. In fact, they've held only 2 meetings since I delivered the 2024 State of the City address. As of this week, there's finally a meeting scheduled for March 20th. The lack of timeliness is unacceptable. It's holding the city back. Under the proposed draft zoning code, John Carroll University would have been able to build the Gateway North project in a single zone as a no variance project. Instead, the project spanned parcels in 4 different zoning districts, requiring 8 significant variances, including building height more than double what is permitted under the old, yet current, code. Look, when cities don't modernize, when they don't keep up, they stagnate. They go into decline. Before I became mayor, University Heights was stagnating, and it was on the verge of decline. In my 2 terms as mayor, we have worked around arcane and outdated zoning. But finally updating our zoning code is essential to telling the world that we welcome reinvestment and what we want it to look like. It was a Herculean effort by JCU and the administration to navigate around the outdated code, having to seek approval for a project that meets a hypothetical idea of a zoning code we would like to adopt versus the actual zoning code on the books since the 1950s. It didn't have to be that way. Yet, we did it for JCU because it was that important. But the rest of redevelopment of Orangeville Center Road and throughout the city, so much of it is on hold while we wait for City Council to finally meet, deliberate, and approve a new zoning code. 2 years in, should have been done by now. And today, it's nowhere near done. It's also making the work on Bell Tower Center that much harder to proceed. A little perspective. City Council is a part-time position, while the mayor is full-time. Even though there are 7 of them and just 1 of me. The role of council is to legislate and appropriate, and in those processes, deliberate. But to actually do it, to actually deliberate actively, not delay everything for months and years. When you hold only 1 Economic Development Committee meeting on the zoning code project in 9 months, to review the work of a consultant we hired and paid $110,000 to, you aren't doing your job. When you hold committee meetings that are only 60 minutes long, routinely don't cover all of your agenda items, and postpone for 6 months and continuing, establishing a salary for a position that's already on the books, that we desperately need to fill in the Housing and Community Development Department, then you aren't doing your job. When you disregard the findings of our hired expert consultants on new facilities, and go on for 2.5 years on a frolic to do your own research, while interest rates and the cost of building materials climb, you aren't doing your job. When you hold infrequent meetings and then spend most of those meetings engaging in monologues, ad hominem attacks, making excuses for your lack of action, lack of even offering open debate, while moving up for immediate consideration pet causes for donors and friends, like this past Monday night, putting on 2 agendas on 2 meetings on Monday, spending 2 hours on the issue of 3 new no parking signs on a street across from an unlicensed business in a house owned by one of the council members' largest campaign donors and president of the board where she works, instead of working together to do all of the people's work. You aren't doing your job. To steal a line from Coach Bill Belichick, City Council, do your job. Look, I'm not asking for any miracles. Just do your job. I respect the legislative process. As mayor, I don't want to just do this by myself. In fact, I can't. The mayor needs reliable partners on City Council who will do their job. And since 2020, we have not had that. This is a profound problem for our community. These are not vanity positions. There's work to be done. If the current City Council members don't want to do it, if they don't have time to do it, if they'd rather play gotcha games and argue and insult people, not just me, but residents who attend committee meetings, rather do that than do the job, then if they'd rather just fight than work, then they should step aside for people who will do the job. So what do we do as residents of University Heights? We think globally and we act locally. We be the change that we are looking for. This is true at every level of government, starting with municipal elections this year. After serving 2 terms, I will not be on the ballot in 2025. 8 years ago, the new mayor did not come from City Council. This November, we can do the same. For leadership, we look amongst ourselves, teachers and professors, labor leaders and community leaders, medical and technology professionals, artists and scientists, as well as the usual attorneys and business leaders. Everyday people, creative people, thoughtful people, empathetic people, just people, motivated people, with good values and good judgment and great ideas and records of accomplishment in their fields. I close with the words of Barack Obama that inspired me to run for this office 8 years ago, on point as ever. It falls to each of us to be those anxious, jealous guardians of our democracy, to embrace the joyous task we've been given to continually try to improve this great nation of ours. Because for all of our outward differences, we, in fact, all share the same proud title, the most important office of a democracy, citizen. So, you see, that's what our democracy demands. It needs you. Not just when there's an election, not just when your own narrow interest is at stake, but over the full span of a lifetime. If you're tired of arguing with strangers on the internet, try talking with one of them in real life. If something needs fixing, then lace up your shoes and do some organizing. If you're disappointed by your elected officials, grab a clipboard, get some signatures, run for office yourself. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose. Presuming a reservoir of goodness in other people, that can be a risk. And there will be times when the process will disappoint you. But for those of us fortunate enough to have been a part of this work and to see it up close, let me tell you, it can energize and inspire. And more often than not, your faith in America and in Americans will be confirmed. It was true then, It's true now. In America, in Ohio, in University Heights. Look up. For 249 years, we, the American people, have triumphed over adversity, even through a great civil war. We're not going to let a few lost souls or a couple of bad elections change who we are or what we stand for. We shall endure. We shall overcome. The state of the city, state, nation, the world, it's up to all of us, together, every day. Starting right here where we live, starting right here in University Heights. May we look up and meet the moment. Thank you.
It's a long way down and there's no bottom. You had the blues, but you forgot 'em. Look up in the midnight hour. Look up. Love is the higher power. Keep your eyes on the skies. Don't look down on the shadow town. Look up. Like every storm, the rain won't last. The future never comes and the past is past. Look up, roll away the stone. Look up, when you're all alone. Up above your head where the music plays. There's a light that shines in the darkest days. There's a burning fire leading through the haze. Look up, look up. No matter where you place in the human race, there is mercy, there is grace. Look up, over the clouds. Look up, over the crowds. Up above your head where the music plays. There's a light that shines in the darkest days. There's a burning fire leading through the haze. Look up, look up. Live to fight another day. Good things are gonna come your way. Live to fight another day. Good things are gonna come your way. Live to fight another day. Good things are gonna come your way. Live to fight another day.
Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.
wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Well, we told her mama that we'd be inviting. Well, Susie, baby, looks like we goofed again. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. We gotta go home. Wake up, little Susie, wake up. Wake up, little Susie, wake up. The movie wasn't so hot, it didn't have much of a plot. We fell asleep, our gooses cooked, our reputation is shot. Wake up, little Susie, wake up, little Susie. Well, what are we gonna tell your mama? What are we gonna tell your pop? What are we gonna tell our friends when they say, ooh la la la, wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie.
Now I'd like to say a few words. Hello? I must be going. I cannot stay. I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same I must be going. La la.
For my sake, you must stay. If you should go away, you spoil this party. I am through.
I'll stay a week or two. I'll stay the summer through. But I am telling you, I must be away.
Before you go, you won't like us and never come. You'll leave them going.
I'll do anything you say. In fact, I'll even stay. But I must be going.
Again.
Walking down the street in the town where I was born. I was moving to a beat that I never felt before. So I opened up my eyes and I took a look around. I saw it written across the sky. The revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now. The revolution starts now. When we rise above the fear, but here the walls are raining down. The revolution starts here. Where you working, where you play, you lay your mother down. What you do and what you say, the revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now. In your own backyard, in your own hometown. What you do is standing around, just follow your heart. Your revolution starts now.
all our hopes have come to be, and the people gather around. They offer all what they can bring, and nobody with that. And then a song sing. The revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now in your own backyard, in your own hometown. So what you do is standing around, just follow your heart. Your revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now in your own backyard, in your own hometown. What you do is stand around, just follow your heart. Your revolution starts now.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.